All right, so this is my first attempt at making the newsletter into sort of a podcast. Um, so forgive the lots of mistakes that are going to happen. I also don't actually know what program you use for podcasts, so I'm just using my camera and putting my camera flat against something. So, if this turns out to be something people are interested in, I see some views here. I will continue doing this and I will get better at it. I'll get a microphone. But for now, we're just going to do this let's call it the low budget version. All right, so this is a podcast reading of the Lift School of Music and the Arts Are for All newsletter. This is a special edition called the Lesson Edition. It's September 2022. For Lift, it is volume 13, issue 9. For Arts Are for All, it is volume 3, issue 9. All right, so the first article is titled My Two Very Different Parents. My parents are very different people. If you have ever had the pleasure of meeting them, you've probably noticed. My mom is passionate, excitable, and outgoing. My dad is an introvert, demure, a watcher, calm. They both have their own strengths and weaknesses, and together they make a pretty amazing parenting team. Until I was 11, my mom took me to lessons every week. She was also my practice partner at that time. Lessons with my mom watching could feel intense. I would peek at her while I was playing to see if she reacted to my mistakes and triumphs. While my teacher talked, I watched her to make sure I was doing okay during lessons. On the hour-long drive home, we'd discuss what I could have done differently during lessons, and by the time I'd get home, often frustratingly to her, I'd suddenly be able to play something that had completely eluded me during lessons. Around the age of 11, my dad began taking me to lessons instead. He maintained the same calm expression whether I played 14 wrong notes in a row or if I played perfectly. He bought bagels after lessons whether I did well or couldn't play my pieces. While we didn't share in my triumphs, we also didn't complain about my struggles. They were as opposite as could be, except... Now this is in blue writing because it's extra important. They both showed up for me. They both were quiet and respectful of my teacher during lessons. They both focused on me and only me during lessons. They both took copious amounts of notes, even if, after years of lessons, they had no clue what they were really taking notes on. I never questioned that my musical education and my interest in music meant a lot to them, despite the fact that neither of them had any sort of musical background at all. These things taught me that showing up can look different, but it means the same thing deep down. Check out my dad's notes from a lesson below. Image description. On a white and green tiny notepad labeled address and phone directory, my dad's messy scrawl, with random caps and lowercase, has written, Minuet, play 4 measures sections. Then it's illegible. No mistake. Mistake in measure 22 to be fixed. 3 4-measure sections in each hand, 10 times every day. Minuet 1, measure 2, metronome on 65, 15 times slowly, like that, with metronome. Don't move hand around too much while playing song. All right, that's the first article. The next article, podcast option. My goal is to make the newsletter as accessible as possible. In achieving that, I am going to attempt to make a podcast type version of the newsletter where I read it out loud. I will try to read it just as written. That part's actually been quite hard so far. I knew it would be. This month, since it's a trial, I will be just using my phone, but in the future I hope to use a nice microphone. If any of you that have a better reading voice would rather read it, please let me know. I'd love some help. And then I won't be tempted to add comments for the listeners. Yeah, I'm just worried that if I add stuff for you guys, then it won't be fair to the people reading it. Please let me know what you think of this option. All right, next article. The importance of watching lessons. Watching lessons is one of the most important ways you can help your child on their musical journey. While my parents were completely different about their approaches to watching lessons, what mattered most was that they were there for me. Other than reading this newsletter, which you're doing, yay, watching lessons is the most important thing you can do for your child's music education. First, let's go through why it's important to watch lessons even if you know you aren't going to practice with your child that week or ever. Number 1, it shows that your child that for once a week for 30 minutes, the most important thing to you is their lesson. Number 2, it gives you time to see that your child is working hard and staying focused. Kids who don't practice with a parent often struggle to enjoy piano. They often want to quit. Without watching your child work their absolute hardest during lessons, it's easy to forget why they're even doing lessons at all. Watching your child during lessons will help remind you the value of what they are doing and what they are learning. Number 3, lessons can serve as an inspiration to start practicing regularly. Number 4, if you do happen to practice with them, you'll know what they worked hardest on during lessons and what they should practice with you, even if you only have 3 minutes to practice together. All right, if you do practice with your child, here's why watching lessons are important. Number 1, my assignment sheets are good, but there's no way I can summarize a 30-minute lesson on one page of paper. Watching lessons shows you firsthand everything your child is working on. Number 2, you know your child, and you know where they struggled most by watching them, even if sometimes I miss their subtle cues. This tells you what your child needs extra work on. Number 3, you're showing your child that the things I say during lesson are important. If you repeatedly practice with them without watching lessons, you can send a mixed message to them about what is important. Number 4, you'll learn the exact words I use to cue your child, such as play the next section gently. Number 5, you can make more elaborate notes that use words that make things easier for you. For example, I might write, put finger 1 on E, but you could write, put thumb on the note next to the right of the 2 black keys. Some things to remember when you do watch lessons. 1, model good listening skills, even if, especially if, your child cannot. Try to stay more focused on me than what your child is doing when I am talking. Kids fidget. Sometimes it helps them listen better. Usually, I'm talking more to the parent than the child, so try not to get distracted by your child when they fidget. Take notes or video to help remember what I talk to your child about. Well, you and your child. Number 3, try your best to stay engaged during the lesson. I know firsthand how hard it is to not check your phone, but try to avoid seeming distracted during lessons. Kids are very perceptive. Number 4, please do not point to a note, help your child sing the next phrase, whisper note names, or whisper fingerings unless I direct you to help. I really love that parents like to show that they're involved, but sometimes I need to know if your child can play their piece independently. Number 5, please try to avoid scolding your child during lessons for either behavioral struggles or piano struggles. If your child is struggling excessively, I may ask you if you want to take a break with them, but during the lesson, it is important that you let them communicate to me. Questions. Do you watch lessons? If yes, why do you watch lessons, and how do you think it helps? If you don't, can you make a plan to watch some lessons in the future? If you do watch lessons, what's one thing you can work on doing even better? Next article. UB Fall Recital. I am so excited for the Fall UB Recital. Just like last year, we have the same options for the recital with only small changes. Read below for the options. Virtual Recital, October 28th, 5 p.m. This is for students who want to perform an extra time prior to the recital. Everyone should do this if they are able. Or for students who are medically unable to perform in person. If your child is able to perform in person without it being a risk, I strongly encourage you to participate in the in-person recital and not use this recital as a replacement recital. There will be a mini recital at 5 p.m. and Halloween crafts directly after. Those students uninterested in crafts are welcome to sign off when the recital is done. If you are staying for the crafts, there is a charge of $5 for LIFT students, which includes everything you need. The next recital is Extra COVID Precautions, November 5th at 12:40 p.m. This recital will have a myriad of precautions to try to keep you and your family safe. Students will sanitize hands prior to performing. Families will be seated in groups of families. I didn't word that right. 6 feet or more apart. Everyone will be asked to mask. If you don't want a mask, please do not come to this recital. Refreshments will be served to go, and parents are welcome to accompany their child on stage so that I'm not hovering over and touching students. If you can think of any other precautions, please let me know. This recital is best for students who are at risk or anyone who wants there to be extra precautions. This recital will be limited to 10 or fewer participants. So this is a recital that if you are interested in, please sign up as soon as possible. All students will receive a prepackaged stuffed animal if they want, and a ribbon. Next recital, Tiny Twinklers, November 5th, 1:30 p.m. This recital is for the smallest performers. It is for any performer ages 8 and under who are performing a twinkle or right hand alone piece. This recital will serve as a wonderful and low-key introduction to see how recitals work. Students will perform their piece with help if needed, receive a stuffed animal, watch a few other performers, as well as 1 to 2 advanced students demonstrating, and then eat refreshments. All students will receive a unique ribbon. Older beginners, November 5th, 2 p.m. This recital is for beginners ages 9 and older. It is for any performer who is performing a twinkle or right hand alone or a both hands at the beginning of the book. This recital will be a low-key and wonderful first opportunity for students who may be anxious about performing in front of a group. There will be a small group of beginners performing, as well as 1 to 2 advanced students showcasing what can be done if the student continues practicing hard. Students will receive the stuffed animal if they want, as well as a ribbon. Afterwards, there will be refreshments. Next recital, Relaxed Recital Experience, November 5th, 3 p.m. This recital is for anyone at any level or any age who does not want or who is unable to do the practice requirements for later recitals, explained below, or for students who are looking for a low-key experience. This recital will be a small, low-key way for students to perform for their peers without pressure. Prior to the recital, I will remind everyone that this recital is extra relaxed. All students will receive a ribbon, and there will be refreshments afterward. Rising Stars Recital, November 5th, 4 p.m. This recital is for any student who is able to play their piece independently and who practices their assignment on 5 of the 7 days leading up to the recital. Students must agree to practice 5 of the 7 days and submit a practice chart or other proof that they have done so prior to the recital. This recital is for students who have worked extra hard during the term and would like an opportunity to demonstrate that their hard work is paying off. Students will receive a large ribbon, no trophy this time, I'm trying something new, and a stuffed animal if they want, as well as refreshments after the recital. Formal Recital, November 5th, 6 p.m. This recital is for any student who can perform unassisted and who can complete the 100 times challenge, which is playing their piece 100 times during the week leading up for the recital. This recital is for students who work extra hard all year long by practicing, listening to the CD, and having parent participation during lessons. There is a mandatory dress rehearsal beginning at 5 p.m., which consists of the recital being run in reverse order. So the more advanced students will need to be there at 5, but intermediate students need not arrive until 5:20, and early intermediate students need not arrive until 5:30. There will be pizza and or subs, I haven't decided yet, provided for students who need to eat prior to the recital. Students participating in this recital will receive a ribbon and t-shirt, as well as a stuffed animal if they want, and refreshments after the recital. And then I have the link for registration. If you need the link, just send me a text. Registration is not due until October 15th. However, if your child is A, in Book 1, around lightly row both hands, French both hands, or London both hands, or B, in Book 2, just finishing Book 1 on Echo Says, Short Story or Happy Farmer, Minuet 1, or in Book 3 on either the Clementi, Minuet, or Kulal, please tell me which recital you are interested in as soon as you can if you are able. There are large log jams in those areas, and I would like to avoid the recital having duplicate performances. Students may register for the virtual recital and up to 1 in-person recital. Students in Book 3 and up may ask to perform in multiple recitals as demonstrators. Please ask me if your child is interested. At the recital, there will be a table of sight-reading books and handmade printed games. Students are welcome to take a book or game as long as they plan to use it. If you have a music book you would like to get rid of, please feel free to bring it. I will have a sign-out system so I can know what is going where, and you're allowed to keep the stuff. And then I can ask you how they are going and maybe work on the songs during lessons. I am getting rid of old junior festival music and would love to encourage families to sight read outside of what we do during lessons, as that is super important. Unclaimed shirts from old recitals will also be there with a spot for donations. All donations will go directly to the Arts Are For All piano program. Then in blue writing it says, please ask me if you have any questions as to what recital your child should be in. Please text me about this anytime, and I will text back when I am able. I am more than happy to help you find the right recital for your family. Next article, recording studio session. If you did not receive your recording studio recording, please email your studio email and let me know, either liftschoolofmusic@gmail.com or theartsareforall@gmail.com. Please make sure that it's clear who is emailing me, and I will email you back your recording studio recording ASAP. Noise during lessons. Next article. There are two main reasons, I think, as a whole, that online lessons often go more smoothly than in-person ones, and the biggest reason is that families work much harder to have a quiet and calm lesson environment. Having a quiet lesson environment is imperative to progress, and it shows your child how you feel about the priority that their music education takes in your household. While as a whole, families have done much better in the past 2 years, to make sure that students thrive, there are still some things to remember. First off, it is extremely important to have a quiet lesson environment. Learning the piano uses the same amount of brain as learning a language, and learning a language with background noise would be extremely difficult. You are asking your child to do their best and focus during lessons. The least you can do is make it easy as possible for them. If you are unable to make a consistently quiet lesson environment for your child, please try something radical, like moving the room where you have piano, changing lesson times, or even taking a break from piano. This is in blue writing. It is unfair of you to ask your child to focus and then put them in an environment where this is impossible. Before your child's lesson, think about the following. Number 1, please listen carefully for any noise that might seem ambient to you but distracting to a pianist. This might include things like the radio or TV, but also things like a loudly ticking clock. My teacher had one in her studio that provided endless distractions for me, especially when it clicked against the metronome. Number 2, please try to avoid praising siblings and spouses in the background. Very few things deflate a child faster than working hard on something with me, just to hear the parent loudly say, "Nice job finishing your dinner, Rachel." Number 3, if young siblings must be present during lessons, if they are, I don't judge. My brother was at every single lesson of mine. The best solution is to set them up with something quiet in the background where you can keep an eye on them, but encourage them to remain independent. I have one family who whispers the same script for all interruptions. "Amy's in her lesson now. I'll talk to you later." Repeating that script discourages interruptions. Number 4, for older siblings, have them go in separate rooms to keep them from having disagreements during lessons. Number 5, noises and interruptions will happen. The best way to recover is to apologize to the child who has been interrupted and make a plan so it won't happen again. I personally see a huge difference when lessons are quiet. I encourage you to work hard on making your child's piano environment as quiet as a place as you are able, and you might be surprised as to how much better lessons go. Next article, fingering. In italics. Each month, I want to focus on one aspect of technique, musicality, or theory. My goal is to explain it in a way that everyone, from parents of beginners to parents of advanced students, learn something. We'll see how that goes. In regular font. In Book 1, fingering is important, something that you'll work on and discuss with your child a lot. All Book 1 students should know the names of their fingers. Image description. 2 hands, colored in black, fingers spread, labeled left hand and right hand. Each finger is numbered 1 through 5, starting with 1 on thumb and ending with 5 on pinky. An easy way to remember this, especially for parents and older kids, is to say, thumb is always 1. It kind of rhymes. One way to bring awareness to finger numbers is to use them a lot during practice. For example, by saying, "Can you make sure you keep your wrist up on finger 2?" and clarifying if your child doesn't remember what finger 2 is. Another way to work on rote memorization of finger numbers is to play one or more of the games listed below. Games for Book 1 families. Number 1, finger pinch. Gently pinch your child's fingers on the tip. They have to say the finger number as fast as you can. Start out only using the right hand and going in order. So pinching finger 1 first, then finger 2. As they get better, go out of order, go more quickly, alternate between right and left hand, and even have them play with their eyes closed. Number 2, spider game. Moving your hand like a spider, tell your child, "Grab my finger 2, and have them do so. Try it out with right hand, left hand, in order, out of order, etc. Number 3, Simon says. Simon says, wiggle finger 2. After your child gets good, you can even specify, Simon says wiggle finger 2 right hand. Number 4, the ring game. Buy a bunch of cheap plastic rings. The Halloween ones are probably already available, and roll a dice. If it's a 1, they put the ring on finger 1, etc. Their goal is to fill up the whole finger. Uh-oh, if they roll a 6, they have to take a ring off the finger. Bold. Fingering in sight reading, book 2 and up. Regular font. Fingering is written in music like this. Image description. Above is a C major 5-note scale. Above the right-hand notes, the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are written. Below the first 2 left-hand notes, 5 and 4 are written. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 is written above the left-hand notes. So it can be written above or below is what I'm trying to say there, or trying to illustrate there. All the numbers on the example above show you what fingers to use on a piece. The ones in the right-hand line, top, show you what fingers to use on the right hand. The ones near the left-hand line, bottom, tell you what to use on your left hand. Remember, thumb is 1, so what finger are you starting with on right hand? What about on left hand? If there are no finger numbers written in, then you should use whatever finger falls naturally on that key. Bold. Correct fingering, unbold. In Suzuki, you almost always have to use exactly the correct fingering in every piece you play. Very occasionally, you may play substitute fingerings, especially if your child has a smaller hand. Please let me know if you ever have any questions. It is always best to learn a piece with the correct fingering, and sometimes that means gently correcting your child if they have learned a piece by ear. Always make sure that the camera during lessons is facing your child so that I can check their fingering and give pointers on how to best help your child if they are struggling. While the wrong fingering can work for playing a piece super slowly or choppily, it almost never works for playing a piece at performance speed or does not allow for proper connecting. Much thought has been put into the fingering, especially in the Suzuki books, so please trust the editors and your teacher. Sometimes the correct fingerings may seem strange or unnecessary, as below. Image description. A D is written 3 times. The first D has a 5 above it, then a 4 above the second D, and then a 5 above the third D. Why would you want to play the same note with different fingers? Well, sometimes it's so that the note can seem connected, legato, and sometimes it's so that you can make the same note different, lighter or stronger. Bold. Options, unbold. Sometimes there are 2 suggestions for fingering, such as on short story below. If this happens, you can usually try both and go with which one you prefer. Image description. Above the E, there is the number 3 in parentheses with a 2 not in parentheses right below it. However, there are some examples where I will strongly encourage you to do one way or the other due to information I've learned during teacher workshops. Bold. On more advanced pieces, unbold. Sometimes you need to prepare your hand to reach up or down, and you don't have quite enough fingers to do this. In this case, the finger you play the note on is followed by a line with the finger you should quickly switch to. Image description. Above an E there is a finger 4, a dash, and then a finger 5, all squeezed above the E. In the piece above, you play the note with a finger 4, then switch to pinky without lifting the note up. Tricky. Is there anything about fingering you feel I didn't cover? Do you have any other questions? Let me know. Next article. Focus on a Book 1 piece, Twinkle C, also called 1 and a 2 and a. Blue writing. I ask that everyone reads the section on the twinkles, including parents of students in higher books. After this, if your child is in book 2 and up, and you have no younger siblings coming through the program, you can skip these sections. Bold. Primary purpose of this piece. Unbold. A finger exercise for students to continue playing staccatos with different rhythm. How hard? 5 stars out of 5 stars to play correctly. Average time it takes for you to learn if you practice with your child. 1 to 2 months for Twinkle C for older students. Young students often struggle with this rhythm, especially if they need to listen to the CD more. If your child struggles, up their listening to the CD and be patient with them during practice. You can also practice clapping the rhythm when you're away from the piano. Twinkle C will teach your child to, number 1, keep their hand relaxed whether they are playing a fast staccato or one with a pause after it. 16th notes versus 8th notes for parents with a musical background. It also sets your child up to be able to play complicated rhythms. It also shows your child that no matter what the rhythm is, keeping a relaxed hand in twinkle position is possible. Please make sure your child continues this piece in twinkle position. Focus on a Book 2 piece, Happy Farmer. Reminder, read this section if your child is in Book 2 or in the middle end of Book 1. Maybe save this for your child if your child is at the beginning of Book 1. Primary purpose of this piece: to teach students how to switch the melody from left hand to right hand and back again. How hard? 5 out of 5 stars. Performance speed with the metronome? 160 to 200 for the 8th note. Average time it takes your child to learn this if you practice with your child? 4 to 6 months to performance level. Other things this piece teaches: playing right-hand chords as harmony, working on an up-down feeling on left hand and later right-hand melody, having right hand play the melody and harmony as in the same section, in the 3rd section, using the correct and complicated fingering throughout the piece, using good phrasing with right hand and left hand at different times, playing the middle section quietly without missing any notes. Next article, breaks during lessons. Breaks during lessons are a valuable part of the lessons themselves. If your child is mentally exhausted or physically exhausted, they are unable to play correctly, and forcing them to play correctly will result in bad habits or frustration. I try to use breaks to keep your child from getting to that point. Please do not look at breaks as a waste of lesson time. Instead, look at them as me maximizing lesson time by keeping your child engaged and ready to work hard. I even use breaks in adult lessons for many of the same reasons a burned out student cannot learn and definitely cannot retain. So, whether we take a break from the lesson to play a game or just to chat, please remember that this is all part of my plan to keep your child having the best lesson they are able to on that day. Next article, Indigenous Artists Virtual Concert. Save the date, October 21st afternoon for a virtual concert featuring Indigenous artists. It will be held on Zoom, and there will be several artists performing a short 10 to 20 minute set. Last year was a huge success, and I'm sure this year will be too. More information coming out soon. Next article, starting a second instrument. I run a similar article every year, though this one is much shorter. Around this time of year, many schools ask students to register for playing a second instrument. I absolutely encourage any and all students to sign up. Playing a second instrument strengthens musicality, encourages sight reading, and can even help technique. It's like adding tap when you already take ballet. Piano is one of the hardest instruments there is, and since piano is both the harmony and melody line played by the same person, whereas most other instruments play either the melody or the harmony, the second instrument will often feel much easier and need to be practiced less. Your child should choose whatever instrument they find the most interesting. Let me know if you have any specific questions or if your child would like to share something from their other instrument with me during lessons. Next article, Connor Chi Competition. Lift School of Music and the Arts Are for All will be holding another composer competition. This time we will be focusing on Indigenous artist Connor Chi. Students are invited to learn a piece, a section of a piece, or even a section of a right hand alone of a piece by Connor Chi, upload it, receive comments and a score, and a rosette ribbon for their work. This competition will cost $3 per entry, plus you will be asked to purchase $0 to $8 sheet music from Connor Chi's website. So just think of that as part of the entry fee, guys. And overall, the winner will receive a lesson with Connor Chi himself. All students in Book 2 and up will be encouraged to participate, as this is great sight reading practice. If you are in Book 1 and interested in participating, please let me know as soon as possible and I can help you find a section of a song to learn. If enough Book 1 students are interested, I'll make a YouTube tutorial. The age categories will be 3 and under, 4 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 17, and 18 and up. Next article, events. Our studio is huge, and since this is my full-time job, we are lucky enough that I am able to spend time making a myriad of events to choose from. Most studios do not have this many events to choose from. I held a poll recently on one of my teacher Facebook pages and found out that the average is 2 to 4 events per year. Check out the survey results below. Image description. At the top, the writing says, how many events do you hold for your students per year? The poll results are 2 to 4 events with 42 results. 1 event, 10 results. No events, 3 votes. 5 to 9 events, 3 votes. And no votes for 10 to 14 or 15 and more events. While I know it's wonderful to have so many options, I'm sure it can feel overwhelming for families. I decided to make a table of all the different events, ranking them in 1 to 5 of how important they are for families to participate. This way, if you have limited bandwidth to deal with events, you know which 4 are the most important. I definitely know that there are some families who dive in and participate in every single event, and there are some families who will only participate in the 4 I designate as most important. Either way is okay either way is okay. What works best for your family is what's best for you. Check out the chart below. All right. I'm going to attempt to read this chart. I'm going to try to find a good way to read this. Event, Western New York Suzuki Festival. When? February. What is being performed? 1 Suzuki piece from a list. How strongly are you encouraged to participate? A 4 out of 5. In person or virtual? Virtual. Judged? Yes. What are the age groups? I couldn't remember actually, and then I never filled it in. Weird. Scoring 0 to 100. Superior, excellent, good, fair, or poor. All right, next event. Spring Studio Recital in March. It is in person at UB. I encourage you to participate at a 5 out of 5. You perform 1 Suzuki piece, and it is not judged. Next event is the Florence Price competition in April. You perform 1 piece by Florence Price. It's an upload. You upload it. 2 out of 5 encouraged to attend or participate. It is judged by age. It's ranked by age, first, second, third, honorable mention, or no award. Junior Festival is in May. You play 1 Suzuki song and 1 non-Suzuki song, or 2 Suzuki songs. 5 out of 5 encouraged to participate. It is in Amherst in person, but there is a virtual option. It is judged. There are no age groups. You are judged by ability and how many years you've participated. You get a score between 0 and 100 and rank superior, excellent, good, or fair. Summer's End competition. In June, you perform 1 Suzuki piece. It is a 4 out of 5 participation. It is judged. Oops, I read the wrong one next. My bad. You are judged by grade and ranked by grade. I'm sorry, I skipped a couple. Summer Studio Recital. There are June and July options. You perform 1 Suzuki piece. It is in person at the Clarence Recording Studio. It is not judged. 5 out of 5 encourage you to participate. Genesee County Fair Talent Show in July. You can perform any piece you would like, Suzuki or non-Suzuki. 1 out of 5. It's fun, but you really don't have to participate. It's in Batavia. You get a free day at the fair. It is judged. There are age categories 6 and under, 7 to 12, 13 to 18, and 19 and up. You are ranked in your age groups. New this year, next year, there is going to be a Student's Choice Sight Reading Composer competition. It is in July. You can play any piece. The child chooses a composer. I recommend that they choose an unknown or underrepresented composer. 1 out of 5 participate. It's a virtual upload. It is judged. I have not decided how it will be judged or what scoring system I will use. Connor Chi piano competition, October. 1 piece by Connor Chi. 2 out of 5 importance. Virtual upload. Yes, it will be judged. Age groups, and it will be ranked by age group. November recital. November, 1 Suzuki piece. 5 out of 5 importance. It'll be at UB. It is not judged. New this year, the December folk song composition competition. It will be in December, virtual upload. It can be any folk song or a Christmas song or any original composition, so anything your child writes. 1 out of 5 importance. It will be judged, and I am not sure but what age groups I will use or what judging system I'll use. All right, upcoming events. October 21st is the tentative date for the Indigenous Artist Virtual Concert. October 28th, deadline to upload the Connor Chi composition competition. October 28th will be the virtual recital and Halloween craft at 5 p.m. November 5th, studio recital UB. And then there's a schedule reminder. And if you need that, just text me and I will send you the schedule again. All right, this is our first attempt at a podcast. Hopefully it went okay. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it works, if it doesn't work. If I see a lot of views, I'll try to do better next time. If I don't see any, then I will probably try it 1 or 2 more times and then stop trying. Let me know what you think, though. Thanks, everybody.